Going live. We are live, I guess.
Stick.
Hopefully the world is seeing us.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, if they don't see us now, they'll see us later, right?
Yeah.
So it's all good.
And we should say welcome to ProfitDig Live, literally live.
It is literally
time.
live, yes.
First time.
So yeah, we invited a lot of people here. I don't know if anyone has tuned in yet or not, so they may have to check it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we pull that up? Maybe we see if we got any trolls in the comments. It's too early. But.
It's too early. It's too early. Yeah. Well, I think we've got things kind of separated here, where we got app screens and we got multiple cameras going.
Yeah.
We
Maybe we
pulled
can
out.
do a quick introduction.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. So you want to start off, Jeff?
Yep. Hey, everybody. I'm Jeff Givens, lead developer for ProfitDig. Glad you're tuning in with us.
Hey guys, Jeff Spencer with ProfitDig. Glad everybody's here.
Ashley Fielder with TriStar Site Development.
Luke Fielder with TriStar Site Development Company.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah.
Chris Work, ProfitDig. You've probably seen or heard me before. And you'll never guess, we got producer Jerry behind the computer and multiple cameras and mics and lighting and all sorts of things going on there. So we appreciate your efforts, Jerry.
And he's not stressed a bit.
Not a bit. I don't know if we're going to pull this off or not.
What's that? Goose Fraba. Do you remember that?
Doing good, Jerry. Doing good.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. Well,
I think, Jerry, you had some topics for us.
Well, I guess we.
Got a clipboard.
yeah.
Well, we had introductory remarks. Did we finish that?
Well, maybe we could just say that, this is our first time trying a live stream, I guess. So, this is experimental for us.
Yeah, we've done about 1,000 videos now, but we've
Yeah.
never done one.
We have a lot of video content. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so what we're going to do is talk about the new version of ProfitDig that we just released. We're going to have some conversation with Luke and Ashton about construction in general. We're going to give away some stuff, man. We got some caps, books.
Yeah,
we will sign a copy. Jeff Spencer will sign a copy
yeah.
of our book. We'll
Yeah.
send it to you.
Well, we've been teaching them how to write all week.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we're
getting
real
better.
excited about these signatures.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't make me go to Goodwill and buy that book back.
Yeah, imagine seeing that. I'm already upset about this, Chris.
No, I'm just kidding.
and we're going to demonstrate the application live.
Okay. Yes.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Hopefully it goes well. It's always scary demonstrating.
Well, we have tested the hell out of the thing.
We have, yeah.
And it's been months and months of development, so I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
I feel good about it anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, why don't you? Would you mind just sort of talking a little bit? I mean, you're sort of you're chief technology officer around here, and you have sort of led the charge in getting us to the new version and refactoring the entire back end, and there's a lot of stuff that's happened. I mean,
So, from the user's perspective, ProfitDig, like you guys wouldn't know which version we're on necessarily. Internally, we're calling this version 3. But it's a major release for us.
Yeah.
We had ProfitDig version 1, which was the initial concept. And then when I joined the team, I totally rewrote everything and we moved to version 2. And then, of course, we had several, miniature releases while we were in version 2. And we added lots of new features in the application. Really liked where the app was at. But one of the things that we were facing challenges with was we want to do a lot more integration with, other softwares and add a lot of new features like project management, just to give an example, QuickBooks integration, maybe even like tracking equipment in the field or having a weather integration app. So there's a lot of cool things that we wanted to be able to add into version 2 that we were limited with the software stack that we had.
right.
Not that it wasn't good. It's just that it was a little outdated from where we wanted to go in the future. So we rebuilt the entire back end and front end. So what's under the hood and what you see like in the website has been totally redesigned. So we've got a PHP based back end, which doesn't necessarily mean anything to you if you're not a programmer.
Right.
But on the front end, it's using a React JavaScript front end, which it's cutting edge. So allows us to do things that we couldn't do with the previous version. And along the way, we tweaked it and massaged how the user interface worked. And so it should be really more like really responsive. In the past, when you wanted to edit something, you had to click edit and take you to a new page. You'd save it, and then you'd have to go back to the previous page.
Yeah.
Very functional, but also kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Version 3, you click on what you want to edit, you just edit it right there.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit enter, you click off of it, it automatically saves it.
Yeah.
So things like that don't seem like a big deal, but
they are.
in a data entry tool like ProfitDig, you're going to be entering a lot of information.
Absolutely.
And every extra click you have to do and every page you have to wait to load adds a little bit of frustration. So what we've done with version 3, at least with the initial release, is try to do that overhaul of the user interface so that everything is super sleek and responsive and then intuitive, right? Yeah. So that was the goal with the release. And now that we've got the release, we have this framework in place where we can build a mobile app to enter timesheets to, so one of the first things that's going to be coming with the version 3, like now that we've released, is we'll put out a roadmap, where you can vote on which different enhancements you would like to the platform. And so you can prioritize those. So that'll be coming soon as one of the first releases after version 3. But yeah, we've rebuilt what's under the hood, and we've rebuilt what you see in the exterior. So we're super excited. And as always, anytime you do a major launch like this, it's terrifying. Right?
A little nervous energy for sure.
Everything works great in your test environment, and then you get ready to go live, and it's like, okay,
here we go. Yeah, absolutely.
But we have tested it thoroughly today, so I think all the major features are available, no errors raised. So
I think Luke and Ashton was on there today as well, weren't you?
Yeah. I got on there this morning before I had to start my running around and stuff, and it was a lot simpler than what it has been in the past.
Fantastic.
Well, and Luke has influenced a lot of the enhancements that we've had. So
absolutely,
Luke's been instrumental in providing feedback. So we appreciate that, Luke.
Yeah.
I'd toast to you if we had like champagne or anything like that. Hey.
Got some damn cookies.
Yeah. I'd toast to you if I had $1 billion.
We have our first comment.
Okay.
Blue Collar Andy says, Luke, that hat is fired.
Shout out to Andy Garrett.
Yep.
He's the founder of the Dirt Crew on the school app.
All right, cool.
We've learned a lot of information in there. Yeah.
We gave you all a big shout out today on there.
Man, thank you, Andy.
Well, if you want to win a prize, better keep them comments coming.
Yeah. Give away Andy's already like Andy. You got him.
Appreciate it, Andy.
We'll let Luke and Ashley kind of tell us about what they've got going on and what they're seeing.
What's cooking in construction?
A lot of bids right now.
A lot of bids.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. What's going on? I mean, have you seen a decline in requests for proposals or bids or anything? Or is it
question? And honestly, not from our perspective.
Yeah.
Our bids have been coming in pretty frequently.
Yeah.
It could be because we're trying to switch from pretty much solely residential to commercial, and we've had a lot of people contact us here recently.
Really?
Probably most thankful to Ashton's LinkedIn post that she went viral, explosively viral.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. So I didn't know you. So you are no longer doing residential at all, or are you just trying to phase that? Oh, you do. Okay.
Still do residential. It's just it's been hard for us because it kind of feels like we do have things a little bit more together maybe than a lot of the people starting out.
Yeah.
So like we're a lot. And so that's and it may not be the case at all. People may just not like us at all.
I know, when you started your journey, it felt like a lot of uncertainty hearing you talk about it. And, what it's 2.5, 3 years now at this point since you got started. So, I mean, you should always be a learner and have a
Oh,
learner
yeah.
mindset. But
Oh yeah.
knowing now what you know, when you look back 3 years ago, do you see the journey
Oh
that you've
yeah,
gone on?
for sure. We've definitely learned a lot, and it doesn't seem like we've accomplished very much. But looking back, there's a ton we've accomplished.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this was like, there's been a common theme with any of our guests, and it's always like if you're winning every bid, you're
Mhm.
slowly going out of business.
Yeah.
You can't keep up with
You know,
it.
you can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So
Mhm.
Well, if you win every bid, more likely you're too cheap, so you're not covering costs and making any profit.
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
So we were told by our very first CPA, who we really liked. That's what he told us. He said, if you're winning every bid, you're too cheap. He said you should be winning about 15 to 20% of the bids that you submit.
Yeah.
And so far, I
Well, that's
think
good. It kind of
we're
echoes what Jeff Spencer has mentioned.
on track. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have y'all had any complaints or any trouble, any dust control here lately?
No, because all my work's been done in the office.
Yeah, it's been really wet here.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I guess, it's kind of a good phase that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now so we've heard from you quite a bit. Ashton, what do you do with the company?
I am over financials and job costing, and I've been dabbling into how to bid,
That's good.
trying to learn that. Networking.
Hey, I've got a book for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a professional learner, so things.
Fantastic.
Now, you was talking about job costing. Have you actually been using the application to do job costing with?
He is my application.
Yeah.
Struggling with that aspect just because he'll send in a bid and then I have to be CC'd on the email to look at the bid and then be like, this is our actual cost versus what he put in, and that's very time consuming. So
Yeah.
We've
might be
been
something that
we've been in a pretty big whirlwind here lately, and she's just recently, really, I guess it's the beginning of this year, just really started kind of diving into the P&L statements
No.
yeah.
and stuff like that. So I feel like once we kind of get everything dialed in on the way that we need to have everything done, I feel like that would be a really good avenue to be able to enter all of our information in.
Mhm.
But I think that would be a good intro for you to talk a little bit about our reporting that we have now.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
we got four reports, and we had some in version 2 as well. But with the release of version 3, we've updated some of the reports that we have. We're always looking for more reports that could be useful. So if anybody out there that's using ProfitDig has suggestions for reports that you think would benefit you, we'd love to develop some more reports.
We actually received a comment earlier from a user who talked about how he loved the application. It's improved his bid process, but he was looking for a very specific report that we don't offer. I said I will talk to my chief technology officer and see
We'll
if we
get
can
it in
get
there.
that done.
Yeah.
Can y'all pull up the reports?
Yeah, do y'all
We-
Just see like the different options?
Yeah, we can.
I actually just showed it
just
briefly.
that right
Oh,
Okay.
did you? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Jerry's on media, and he's
Well, y'all you want to click around it and talk about it?
yeah.
Well, I can
Go ahead.
try.
Yeah, there you go.
Just could you guys pass the mouse? please?
Mouse around,
Just
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So that's what we've really been diving
So-
in on here lately is
Yeah.
the project profit and loss reports,
Yeah.
and actually being able to run your company off of your project profit and loss versus
Yeah.
just what your bank account says.
without having to communicate with the field constantly or the bidding person constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, in our test company we have up here, we don't have any completed projects. But we can at least see, we can see awarded project profit and loss. So we can see here's everything. Again, these are all just, faux projects that just for testing purposes, but I can get a quick overview of everything that's been awarded and sort of where we stand. And you say, oh my
These
God,
ongoing projects.
we've busted the budget here on a couple of
Mhm.
these. So,
Mhm.
and then again, I can see it here. But then we've added a couple additional options now, so I can create a PDF. If I have a meeting with some stakeholders or whoever it may be, I can quickly generate an
Yep.
overview from my meeting. Or if you want to do some further analysis, you can now export all this information into CSV and do
Yeah.
whatever.
It's
you want
Excel.
to.
If you're not familiar with what CSV is, it's just basically you can open in
An
Excel.
Excel file, right? Yeah.
And you did say you were working on the integration with QuickBooks.
Well, so that's one of the things that we have set ourselves up to be able to do with the new release. We don't have QuickBooks integration yet, but
Mhm.
I would say that's going to be once our ability to vote on features, I think that's going to be right up at the top because there's different levels of what QuickBooks integration looks like. Like we don't want to recreate QuickBooks.
Mhm.
What we want to do is make it to where you can focus most of your efforts in ProfitDig
Mhm.
and all that information gets replicated over to QuickBooks or imported into ProfitDig. So it's like a back and forth between the two, like a synchronization.
So where like if you change something in one, it'll change it in the other one, or vice versa.
We'll have to play around with
Yeah.
what
Okay.
that is, and
Mhm.
different companies use QuickBooks differently, and they use certain features.
Mhm.
So it'll be a staged integration. But what we need to identify is what are the key features that our users care about in QuickBooks.
Transaction uploads. Job
Transaction
costing.
uploads.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being able
Perfect.
to know the actual cost versus bid cost. That's my biggest thing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and we do have some actual, and it doesn't have QuickBooks integration yet, so probably you're just using QuickBooks for that. But we do
Yeah.
have cost tracking.
He does
right?
separate bidding, and I do QuickBooks, and I'm like, I have to minus the percentage to get the actual cost, because it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Mhm.
We need to get together sometime, and you can show me, go through what your process looks like.
Okay.
And then if I can understand how you're going through
Yeah.
that process, and you may do it differently than somebody else, but if we can match a use case that accomplishes that for you, it'll probably accomplish it for somebody else.
Yeah.
Man,
Right.
the way she's got us set up now is, I mean, great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you want to be able to say you want to drive up your sales, she's got it set up to where you can look at your percentages on where your money's going to where if we want to drive up our sales, then we can cut out a percentage over here and apply it over here to
Mhm.
marketing, to where it will, or revenue, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And it's been. I'm so glad she
Yeah,
dove into that.
he's learned a lot that financing and
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and we had this in version 2 as well, but like even in the field, like if Luke stops and gets fuel for something, he can actually like put a cost code on that fuel ticket, take a picture of it, and upload it to that specific job where you got your. That way, you never lose your receipts.
Yeah.
Yes. But he's got to be willing to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's
That's a whole nother.
Yeah. It's a whole systems. Whenever you got to do a whole
Yeah.
variety
Well,
of things.
and the reality is any system is only as good as your input.
Exactly.
Right? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
like,
So I was talking to this lady who's been helping me with my financials, and she said that she has a credit card that helps her team when they make a purchase. They have 7 days to input the purchase, or the card freezes with like the cost code and everything. I'm like, yes, I want that.
yeah.
Put it in.
I'm familiar with that process. Except for us, they don't freeze the card; they just make you pay a late fee.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Or I guess they deduct it from your check.
No, you got to pay American Express directly. It's $30 each time.
Oh,
you screw
okay.
up. So you don't screw up that much, honestly.
The
You do it
highest.
once and then you don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
Yeah.
The highest fee credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, those are, again, just some of the additional reporting features. The other thing that we've added to is just the ability, and this is actually,
Okay, budget
we-
versus cost.
yeah, we actually had a user who's been with us for about 8 months now, and he was inquiring about the ability to export this specific data into a report. I was like, the system does not do that, but it's a great idea.
Yeah.
So, that's
That
something
does not seem like a huge task.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But I do like the quick overview here. It's like I just pulled up a sample project, and then I can drill down and I can see exactly, as the project's ongoing, I can do a quick drill down and see where exactly my cost is going, and that's in
Yeah.
people, materials, equipment, whatever it may be.
you can look at it by type, and then there's another view which is by line item.
By line
Right.
item,
And
yeah.
it'll show you the percentages. Each section, whether it's a header or a line item, you'll see those progress bars. The blue is your budget and the red is your cost.
Yeah.
And so you can see here.
For each
Yeah.
bit of them.
And in this case, this is our demo data. But
Yeah, so I'm trying
like
to find something
if
here.
you bust the budget, for example, like on one of the, and maybe we could do that
Actually,
live.
you got something applied to them, ductile iron pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you bust the budget, that red bar will become the
Right.
full bar, and your blue bar will be less, right?
Yeah.
But you can see like maybe your header is you haven't broken the budget on, but that one line item, what went wrong there? So you can do
Right.
that kind of analysis, and then I think on the awarded project Pina, or is it the completed project where you take the single project overview, that report?
Yeah.
It'll do kind of the same thing,
Well,
and it'll highlight each individual line item red if you exceeded your budget for that particular line item.
It's nice.
This one.
Well, and I don't think we actually have one on this example. I think everything. Is
Yeah, well, but if you wanted to do it live, you could bust that budget right now, and we could look at it.
Is this a awarded project?
Or
it is. Yeah, we can cost against it.
So this is for a single project awarded or completed. So you can look at one that's ongoing, or look at one that you've already done if you want to do like a post-mortem analysis.
If I'm not wrong, like once it's completed, you can't add any more cost to it, correct?
Yeah, once it's completed, you've locked it.
You've locked it,
Now, that being said, we can unlock a project for you like if you send us an email. But the idea is that once you say it's completed, you should stop, right?
Yeah, let's see. Let's just blow this up here, Jeff. Maybe enter
400 hours.
400 hours there.
Oh yeah, I've got the keyboard.
You have the keyboard.
All right, 400. Oh, I need to hit the num lock, don't I? All right, you got it. 400.
That'd be fun.
What is that? 4,000.
4,000.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll absolutely bust it.
So the way this works.
Oh, I need to update my
If you just
hours.
want to update it, so if before you add them, if you hit 400, it'll add them as.
It'll add that,
but if you decide, and this is a good example. Actually, I want to update them all to 400.
Yeah.
Boom, you can update them all.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the cool things about version 3 that we didn't have in version 2 is when you're building your bid, entering in your line item was kind of the same interface, very similar. But when you edited the line items, it didn't have that same interface. In version 3, it does.
Right.
Yeah.
You click the edit button and it brings up that same interface, and you can add and modify it however you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, with the changing your exclusions, addenda, acceptances, and stuff like that, that was set up the same way. Also.
Yeah. Well, and one of the features you asked for was, can I make several different like mini sections and then just add as I needed? Well, we have that feature now, and so there's a button that says append. Which so if you want, append just means to add on to, right? So like if you choose your first one, you hit append and it'll take the blank and it'll add that, and then if you select the next one, hit append, it'll add that below that one. So you can really piecewise it how you'd like.
And so we can see here, like this is just the project overview we were looking at earlier, and you can see we busted our budget with the 400-hour entry that we made there.
Yeah.
Now you can see it's highlighting where we busted.
At a quick glance.
At a quick glance.
See where
Which in this case it was everyone.
Well,
and everything, but
what are y'all doing out there?
Building bid applications.
Hanging out in the shade tree drinking cold beer.
Yeah. It's too much iPhone usage out there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, and like this report here, we like this report, but we could add new features. We could add like some settings, like user profiles. Like if you wanted to color these boxes, maybe you want like a green, an orange, a yellow. Like we could add new features like that. We just like to know what will work for you guys.
What are you looking for?
What are you looking for? Like we didn't build this necessarily, to deliver something and have no feedback.
Yeah.
This application will become as useful and as good as our feedback wants it to be. And our commitment is to keep it the same price point as long as we can, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like $99 a month, we're going to keep adding features. Same price. Maybe you get new integrations all the time. And that's, I know one of the big challenges we see with some of the other industry products is
all the modules and add-ons.
You got to buy this license and you got to buy this module, and this won't work unless you have this. And so you get nickel and dimed. And like that's one thing that with ProfitDig you don't have to worry. We're not nickel and diming you. Like you buy the service, you get it. Our pricing model is based on users.
Well, the perfect solution doesn't exist, but
Yeah,
I think we can build a really good solution that accommodates everyone.
yeah.
But your feedback is important, obviously. So,
yeah. So yeah, you might find some usage out of this. If I think it sounds like if we had QuickBooks integration, if we could automatically import those costs, or if we had like a receipt capture that could analyze the receipt.
It would have to be an integration, just like a column where it was the percentage was off, where it was the actual that he put in without the added everything else.
We have a question from user B Lamb says, is there the capability to break out of material cost and labor equipment cost per bid item?
Yes, there is.
Yeah. So if so B Lamb, thanks for the question.
Absolutely.
If you want to go into one of the projects, and maybe we need to create a new one.
Hold on, let me
Well, we have. I think don't we have an example of?
let me get switched over to the.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay.
To the
Let's switch the screen.
Yeah.
All right.
We're fighting the mouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I was gonna say so.
Well, I think he's saying even when you're B Lamb, I guess at the budget level, you can break up the individual costs on each line item. Right. So I think that's what he's asking about.
Right. Am I not in the right place here to?
So you're in the
demonstrate
project
this?
costs, which is where you track your costs, but we want to create a bid and we'll add a line item.
Oh,
And you can see the different sections of what you can contribute to your line item.
the particular line item. Yes.
Particular line
To that
item.
particular line.
So if you've got a bid that is not awarded yet, not submitted, we
may have to create one.
Well,
Well, I think he's talking about, if I'm not mistaken, he's wanting to see the cost at that particular bid item for your labor, your equipment, correct?
All right,
Yeah, reread it.
All right, pause, Chris. Let me switch
Yep.
over. Read this.
So this will be an awarded contract.
Yeah.
He says, is there the capability to break out material cost and labor equipment cost per bid item?
Yeah, so you can track that in your cost by line item, and you can see what all went into that line item. You can see each individual cost associated with that line item. And then even at the bid level, if that's what you're asking about, because when you say cost, it could mean two different things, right? And like with our application, when we say cost, we mean you're tracking your costs, not your cost on the bid. But if you're asking about when you're creating your bid, can you differentiate between all the different components on that line item? Then the answer is yes. So,
and am I in the right place if I'm understanding the question correctly? Jeff Givens here. If I'm looking at a bid and I wanted to toggle my details, then I can see my cost and markups at the line item level.
Yeah, if you want to go in and just clone this bid to a new project, maybe we got to create a new project, but I think if we add a new bid line item, I think that's going to answer B Lamb's question.
Let's just do this real quick. Just add it to Chris here.
Okay, so and Chris is using a feature called clone bid. Okay,
yeah.
So you could set up like a template project if you do a lot of the same kind of work, where you basically have everything filled out, and once you do this, you can clone that to new projects.
Right.
So you could create multiple bid types within your template project. You could have template bids. And if you do that similar type of work, you could just clone that to another project, like a real project, and then edit it from there. Take away what you need.
Commercial projects, you have multiple GCs or whatever that'll contact one subcontractor to handle the same portion. They can just clone it, change the name.
Yep. Well, and when you clone, you can change your percentages on your overhead, your profit.
More margin.
So
you can have a new GC you're bidding to.
That's what I'm
saying. Have any
experience
with. So it's like I may throw a few more percentage points on there just in case.
Say you bid to 4 different GCs. Well, when that job, if you are the lucky winner of that job, then you can go in and award that job per that GC. So now you're locked in with that GC as well.
Right.
Right. Yeah, and you can email the bids to the different GCs directly from the platform, and there'll be like it sends them a link or an email with a link to the PDF that they can download. One thing that we did not have in version 2, but we added in version 3 was tracking the emails.
Yeah.
So now if you send out a bid, it'll show you ProfitDig sent it. and it got delivered to the customer's mail server.
Mhm.
So, like, those two things happen every time you send an email.
Mhm.
And then if they open that email and click the link to view the PDF, you'll get a new tracking information
awesome.
that says they viewed it.
Yeah.
So if they try to tell you,
Yeah.
well, I didn't get it,
Yeah.
you can
Right.
say, like, I
Yeah,
can
or
see
you haven't
here
heard anything, you can
Yeah.
go in and be like, well, they have viewed my proposal.
They
And
have
you might pick
viewed
up the phone
Yeah.
and check in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think y'all changed it in version 2, but I just started emailing it to myself also, just so I know it would
Well,
go
and you
through.
can still do that.
Yeah.
When you send it, you can blind carbon copy yourself. Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I got to tell you, like, this was one of the biggest problems we had in development, and not because like it makes it look real simple, but the big email providers like Gmail,
Mm-hmm.
they all have bots that open the mails automatically and
Make sure
scan
it's not
them
for spam.
for
Yeah,
various
for
things.
spam and whatever.
Mhm.
And the issue we ran into time and time again was we were tracking everything, but it would get sent, delivered, and viewed immediately. We're like, I know I didn't view this. Like, I can see it. It's unread,
Yeah.
but it still showed as viewed. It's because the email servers were automatically opening it to do whatever they needed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And almost all the big email companies do that. So that feature to track, the way we got around that is we said, okay, we'll make it a hyperlink so that somebody has to click a link inside the email,
Mhm.
and that does not happen automatically.
Right.
So now to view the bids, you click a link, takes you to your PDF, and if that happens, we'll track that it got viewed.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry, B-Lam, we keep getting
I
sidetracked.
know, man.
But if you go to add new bid line item, Chris.
You need this, James? Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
So BLM, I think this is what you were mentioning. So here in the tool, you can choose your header.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to choose something generic.
Choose one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. New
And then you can
item.
pick the bid item associated with it.
Might do that.
Enter your quantities.
What?
Yeah. We're very creative on some of
Yeah.
Honestly, I like the generic names for
Yeah.
testing. So that way I know it's a test and I can just enter something, whatever, and it's
Yeah.
All right, but I don't have a keyboard. Here, Jeff. I'm just gonna pass this to you.
My problem is I can't hardly see the screen.
Okay. Some quantity there.
So my quantity, I'm gonna enter.
All
All right, I'm rotating. All right.
All right, we're just gonna do each for whatever, Okay.
And I guess for your purposes, when you enter these line items, you can enter a customer note that will appear on the bid PDF as it gets sent out, and you can also enter an internal note, like
when
maybe
you
there's
do the
something you
bid
want to tell the
internal.
customer, and maybe there's something on that line item. Maybe there's something you want to express to yourself that you don't want the customer to know. You can put both of those here.
Yes.
All right, and so now for each individual line item, what you can do is you can say, so we have material groups, and we probably have some groups here, but you can configure different materials in the platform, and then you can add those to different material groups. So if I click,
or just add an individual material.
or you can add an individual material. So if you want to choose one of these material groups, Chris, like
residential pipe,
residential pipe, okay.
Right.
So we have added these 3 materials to that group, and so that just makes it when we're generating our bid, if we select that group, it'll pop it. Go ahead and select another one.
Yeah, well, I just want to add too. You'll notice it added unit pricing here for the feet of each pipe type.
Yeah.
That is just where when you add that material to your company profile, that's the cost, and then it'll actually remind you. You can set a date, say like material costs are always fluctuating. You can say remind me in 60 days or 30 days or whatever.
Well, and we've got a little reminder at the top of the app too. It tells you
right.
when
It's
you need
there.
to update.
I just wanted the viewer to know where these numbers came from. Like ProfitDig doesn't provide those numbers.
Right.
You
provided. You as the user provided this number.
Absolutely.
Although we have considered that as an enhancement as well.
I don't think I would.
The challenge is finding a data set that's up to date.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, every price is different in every different region.
Yeah.
I mean, my prices would probably be different than Jeff's prices because he's probably, and we're in the same exact area.
Yeah.
Because he's got a better relationship with certain, material vendors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're opposed to us, where we've only been in business for 3 years.
Yeah.
So to have an average price it would be foolish of a client of ProfitDig
Yeah,
to
but it
use somebody
would
to
be
go
cool
across.
to know if we
An
had some
average.
integration there that said if you had a button that you could click and it said like, tell me in this geographic region within 500 miles what the average cost is for this material.
You
Like,
better have
Someone
a
super
waiver in
green.
there.
Yeah, I think
well, and it would
it
just be
Yeah.
it would just be a data set, but like
right.
that would be super cool.
It
Yeah.
would be cool. And something we've talked about too is essentially, over time, as the application grows and we have X number of users within a specific geographic region, well, they are providing all this data.
Yeah, we can
And then
anonymously share
we
it.
could anonymously share that, a contractor in this region is averaging X dollars per, linear foot of, laying this type of pipe or whatever it might
Yeah.
be. I mean, but again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're getting X amount per yard to move dirt, or what
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. Not that that's a suggestion. We're just telling you that
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what,
So going back to
we've
B
collected.
Lamb here.
Yes.
Sorry, B Lamb. This is the longest
Yes.
answer in history. You good, Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to enter in our quantities here.
Mhm.
So what's our quantity? 50. This num lock does not want to stay selected. And I'll do 75.
You
Okay.
know what? I just realized I keep undoing that because I got it over here.
Yeah. Frustration, Jerry.
Yeah. And I
That's
think
all
just for
good.
the
Hey, Jerry, keep going.
purposes,
Yeah. Yeah. Now again, I don't know what we're bidding here. I can't even
Just-
read the text here. So let's just
it's
add
pretty
this.
far away from you there.
All right. So we're just gonna say
So you can add materials,
Mhm.
you can add equipment and employee costs.
Which this was a predefined crew that we had created
Yeah.
in the application, called Pipe Crew 1. Once I've added, I mean, I can add as individual people or
Mhm.
equipment.
And
We
you can
just
take
selected a
take
crew,
people out of
and
the
I
group
can,
you need
and
to.
I can remove items if I don't, or people or
Yeah.
equipment if I don't need them. We're just going to leave it in here, and then you get one last sweep here of your rates and margin.
Well,
if I wanted to add,
You can also add even on that line item.
Well, you
Yes,
got your delivery
You got
costs.
sub company, or if there's a contingency you want to add on that line item.
right? I just skipped right over that, didn't I?
Yeah.
But and another thing too that I like about the whole feature is like, and it's been there for a while. But say you're awarded this project and you've got Joe Blow that's working for you. Well, 2 months down the road, he leaves or he gets fired or whatever. Every hour that he's participated in that job, it still keeps a
It
track
still keeps it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
of that guy. Just because he's
If you entered it.
if you entered it.
If you
Yeah.
entered in his,
Yeah.
Entered in the system. That's right.
Yeah.
You can only report on what you enter. So
Yeah. So, anyways, yes, on to go back to BLAM, when you're creating your line items, you have full control over your material, your labor, your sub companies, and your contingencies on each line item. And there's like an overall rate. So if you scroll at the bottom for the bid, so you can have whatever your bond is, your profit margin,
Which is preset.
overhead.
Which is
Yeah.
preset.
You can set that, but you can tweak it too.
you can
So,
adjust
so
it.
if I want this line item to be different than
Mhm.
what my default settings are, I can
Yeah.
tweak that.
I can tweak it
And
right
it's
here.
only going to affect that one line.
That
Yeah.
one line.
Nothing
item.
else. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
oh,
got,
if you set it from this screen here.
yes,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
if you say you got something you're bidding on and you're not 100% sure,
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't do on a regular basis, like hell, I need to cover my ass a little bit, so I'm gonna bump up my percentage, or I'm gonna put a little more contingency in there, or whatever,
Just so you don't lose
Right.
money.
just so you don't lose money. So you can do it, and it's not going to affect your overall whole bid. It's going to just affect this one
Exactly.
line item.
Well, when you go in
Okay.
and start viewing your line item cost, and you're like, I keep losing money on this one
Mhm.
particular thing, then I can say, hey, I'm going to add a little more margin on
Yeah.
this one line
Yeah.
item because I'm in the red every time. I mean, unless if the overall project's going well, you probably don't care. But
So
something
you can
to
go
be
ahead
aware of.
and save that.
Like say maybe you don't do pump stations, sewer pump stations. The guy you're bidding to is like, hey, I need you to include this in your bid. Well, heck, I don't do them, so I need to add something to it, to make sure,
Mhm.
to get me something to work off of, to make sure I'm going to try to make some money.
Exactly.
Well, and
Yeah.
also a lot of times you also don't want to, if you have like a subcontractor heavy line item, you probably don't want to add near as much of a markup or something
Right.
on their
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah, and you can. I mean, you can manage it. Lighter or heavier, either one for that side.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well, and you can tweak it too after you've entered it. If you decide, you know what, actually, I want to go in and edit that. All you got to do is go over here and click edit.
Mm-hmm.
Brings back up the same interface. And it's as if you were adding it the first time. Everything that you entered when you added it gets pulled up,
That's right.
and you can tweak in each individual. This is
Yeah.
just one of the big changes from version 2 that makes it real easy to edit these individual line items. And if you saved a different percentage for overhead or for margin for this line item, it'll pull up that distinct.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to see that this one is different than the others.
Yeah. And one other note I'd like to add too is you'll notice like under employee, we have like operator, laborer, pipe layer, fairly generic names there.
Right.
These can be your actual employees. This is sort of a strategy that Jeff Spencer likes, and I like it, is that he'll look
This is
and
how
take
I have
his,
mine set up.
really,
Yeah.
kind of take
Yeah,
your
it's a
average,
generic.
because
Yeah.
people come and go, and
Yeah,
pay
exactly.
rates,
Yeah.
are constantly changing depending on their quality of work, and
Right. I've got multiple mock crews set up, that I bid with, because you never know when you actually start that job which crew you're going to get, which job you'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
just kind of take an average of your equipment, average of your employees, and make you a mock crew to bid with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I have my operators. I have like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3.
Yeah.
You all right, Jerry?
We're it's this is hard to do. We're stepping on each other's toes, but we have our next question
Awesome.
from
Man.
Thomas Woodhead. Says, how do you add markup just to materials in bids?
So we actually don't have that option to add individually to just
Like just
materials.
material, you would have to just add that into your material cost.
It's
I guess,
whatever
right?
whatever
You're
markup
adding-
you set for that job. If it's 15% profit and 10% overhead, whatever it may be, your materials get marked up the same amount.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're automatically marked up. So if you want to do something different on your bid items, if you want to add a little more to them, then that's the time you need to do it.
Yeah, and I would say too, it would be kind of a roundabout way of doing it, because right now, whatever rates that you apply, whether it's margin or overhead, like whatever rates you apply right now, they apply to every sub item within
Within the bid.
the line item.
yes.
Okay. But if you wanted to do something specifically a little bit different with the materials, you could create a new line item that's dedicated to the materials,
Good.
and you don't add any of your labor. But you, like, if your header was like, 1001 silt fence,
Well,
like
and
your
so-
identifier,
and
you could
also-
have 1001 silt fence materials, and you could just add that individual one, and you could change the markup. So you could do it. We just don't set
Well,
a way to
If you know
individually.
a certain percentage you want to mark up your material, when you enter your material price, I would go ahead and add that percentage to that material before
That's
you.
true.
That's what I was going
Before
to
you enter-
suggest is that right here. I mean, if I'm this is my cost, then I'm just going to
You
go
can-
ahead and place my
Yeah,
markup. on
you
that-
could always
on that item.
update the
Yes.
individual
Of-
values.
So that's what I was
of
going to
any
ask. Like
material.
whenever you're entering off of your, like you already have an input price list for materials.
That's just suggestion.
Is there an option to be able to adjust that price
Yes.
list on
Right.
the actual line item
Yes,
itself?
right there.
Absolutely
Yes.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
You
right
can make
here.
it anything you want.
So these are
Oh, so you can change that.
so
Yeah.
you and Chris, if you close this and go to the materials section on
One
hit
second,
the-
Chip.
Oh, Jerry,
Yeah,
Jerry.
Again, we're this is hard to do because
Okay,
I gotta have the mouse to. Shit, I can't get my.
you want me? You
Here.
want me to?
Let me have that mouse. Let me have that.
I think I've been fired.
Okay, all right, go now.
I need the mouse.
I had
Thank you. Would you
Yeah.
like one?
We appreciate y'all's patience. This is our
Okay.
first time
Oh,
doing a live, like
You don't want one?
truly live. So
You don't like that?
experimental for us.
Oh,
but-
I gotcha. Okay. All right.
What was it? Thomas Woodhead asked this question about
Thomas
the
Woodhead.
materials.
Yes.
Yeah. So
You got
first of all, thanks for
Thank you for the
commenting.
question. Yeah.
But if I go to materials here, in ProfitDig, you can add
Oh, you
as
can
many
correct your
materials
stuff, Chris.
as you would like.
I know.
Yeah.
Just Spencer's
Yeah.
again.
National
This
business.
is
Yeah.
our
But we have verification dates here, and you can see we've done a poor job verifying our prices in the app. But I know in real life you do a pretty good job verifying your prices. But you'll get a notification here that tells you like, hey, you need to update your material prices before you do your next bid.
If you haven't updated and you get into a job you've been awarded, then that's when you got to get in some heavy negotiation with your material suppliers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you could set the different unit prices. So this says for the 4-inch, and I can barely read at this angle.
C900 DR 18 PVC.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
I don't read real
Is that
good.
too
Luke.
cheap?
That's cheap.
Okay, so
That's too cheap.
well, it says it's screaming at you right there,
I would-
saying you should have updated.
Yeah.
I'll
this.
buy a few truckloads of it if I could get it right
Let me update. You know what? We verified that today. We got a new price, and actually it's $5.
Well, put it about $6.50.
$6.50.
$6.50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've updated this price now. So if I were to go back into my bids, and I don't remember which one you were using here.
It was under Chris.
Chris, I think, yeah.
Chris. Okay, so if we go to Chris,
Someone's trying to find it.
unsubmitted,
bid
one.
bid
Yeah.
one. So if I go to my bid, yeah, it's good, Luke.
That is
I like your investment.
really appreciate it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But if I were to go back in here now and add a new bid line item, so I just updated that particular material to be $6.50.
So will it update the price on the?
It won't do it if you've already
Already
created the line item.
Okay.
You can go in and edit it.
Yes.
I got you.
That could be something we could consider, though, is to go into existing bids.
It's not a completed job or an active job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not an active job.
once you submit the
is
bid,
submitted, it's locked.
we would lock it. But
You can't
until
make
you
changes.
submit it,
Well,
like,
you
that's
can
something
yeah.
we could
But
consider.
you can't adjust the original.
Well, while you're working on the bid before you submit it is
Yeah, so here it is. So a minute ago it was 3, but I selected this material, and now it shows the
$6.50.
updated price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so this is where you would be able to, if you wanted to add like a certain percentage higher
Mhm.
or lower,
Yeah,
you
if I
could
wanted
add
to
or
change
deduct
this
to the
to
total
8
price
here, I could do that
You can do
for
that,
this
yeah.
particular
for that one line item
line item. Yeah.
Or a piece of
or
material
the
on this
quantity
job.
Yeah.
of that one.
Yeah.
So hopefully, Thomas, that answered your question.
I
But
hope so, Thomas.
we do
Thank you for the
set
question.
the percentages for the line item. These are more like, so we have 2 options. You can do the company guidelines. You can have like settings for the base or the default.
Mm-hmm.
The default settings for taxes, overhead, bond, and profit margin. You can
And-
also
and
have
I-
a user specific.
And I would always recommend, having those set up just for a CYA factor, because if you on an individual line item, you're not going to always remember to change those,
Yeah.
and so that way you have got some kind of markup, whether it's enough or not. You got something anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a user setting, a company setting. So when you create a project and you create a bid within that project, you set the rates for that specific project. By default, it will use, if you have your own user settings, it'll use yours over the company settings.
Yep.
If you don't have specific user settings, and maybe I can, am I fighting you with the?
Yeah, I've already. All right, hold on. I've already switched off of the
Oh, okay.
app. Hold on, let me get back to it.
All right.
This is.
I'm not touching.
I'm not sure.
Not
I'm not sure how we would even do this. We have our next user question.
Oh, okay.
Y'all are ready for it. But,
Well,
we're back to you.
Maybe just real
Okay.
quick, I'll show here. Like within the user profile, you can set your own rates. And in this case, Jeff Spencer doesn't have his own rates under this profile. But under the company,
Get them preset.
we've got these rates set. So any bid that he creates, it'll give him the option when he creates the bid. It'll either use his user, so the user overrides company.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't have user rates like Jeff Spencer's account does it'll use the company rate. If it doesn't have company rates, you'll have to enter them in for that project. So that each line item you create will use those for that project. But you can change it per project.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if you have, as companies grow and you have multiple estimators, you're going to have some guys who are just more seasoned and,
Mhm.
They know exactly what
they
they
know
want.
exactly what they want. And so they can have their own rate profile. for their
Yeah.
specific bids.
Jerry, I think we had some more interaction.
Steve G.
Steve,
Appreciate
Steve
you.
G.
He says, "Hey guys, appreciate the chat. I'm a surveyor, not really involved in the office details, but I do get to see a lot of the operations. Wonder if that question could include tariff markups. Getting into tariff stuff.
markups.
So
So
there again, that's going to be based on your materials and keeping them updated. You know,
Yeah.
whether it be fuel, whether it be pipe, you know, whatever concrete structures, which most of your concrete structures are built here in the U.S. anyway. But you know, you got your castings. You know, for years our foundries have went out of business here in the U.S. because we've sent so much stuff overseas. But now our foundries are starting to start back up. So tariffs will affect, but it's going to affect everybody that's doing the same kind of work we're doing because they're buying the same products we are. So in keeping your material prices updated, that's going to have your tariffs include your material prices.
Probably want to set those reminders a little bit sooner.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's a great feature
Yeah,
for
it is,
that.
yeah.
For this situation.
Well,
this
and for
area that
each
we're in right now.
individual material, you can set
You can set them whatever time you
the
want.
reminder
5
period.
days. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 months, whatever.
Well,
it may
and
be.
I know a couple of years ago, Jeff Spencer, we were doing a video about materials, and you were saying at that time you had like with certain suppliers, it was like a 5-day window.
1 day.
You got down to
Okay.
one
1
day.
day. Yep.
What was
And
that
that-
for? Like sprinkler fitting stuff?
That's
or
back
something?
whenever Ukraine war first
Oh.
started.
Oh wow!
And a lot of our materials, you know, metal and stuff, you know, was coming from Ukraine, and they would only guarantee them for 1 day.
1 day.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's you know
So
the point
if-
to determine when those alerts should be
When that
set.
contingency
based-
feature comes in
That's
play.
when the contingencies are
Yeah,
useful.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so maybe Steve, to go back to your question about tariffs, as an individual estimator, you're getting your prices quoted from the suppliers, and your suppliers are going to take those tariffs into
And handle
account.
their pricing.
You don't necessarily have to include tariffs as the estimator on the job, right? Like that's going to be something provided by your supplier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, unless you're buying like, I don't know, direct from Saudi Arabia, you know, or like.
And kind of put case in point, back in 1st of April, I had 5 different emails from 5 different suppliers saying, "Hey, 1st of May, there may be some tariff." Didn't say it was going to be, but said there may be some tariff impacts on materials, and we still haven't seen them yet.
Haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
You know, we're still getting the same price, and we've been getting. You know, I haven't seen anything really go up or jump.
And it could be too, like there's a delay. Like
Yeah.
you may not see it yet, and then
And
it'll
there's still
hit.
negotiations going on with them.
Right. Well, and shipping overseas, right? Like they
Right.
ship on big freighters, you
Yeah.
know, and like they don't ship, you know,
It takes a while to get here.
they're not going to ship it on an
Right.
airplane to you.
Right.
Right. It's going to come on a big
Question. I don't
ship.
bid construction for a living, so let's just say I'm bidding a project that's going to start 6-8 months down the road. How do I handle that? Am I just getting?
Once I make a deal and I'm awarded a project, I contact my suppliers, ask for submittals. Once I ask for material submittals, that locks that price in.
Okay.
So whatever quote they give me, then that is my price for up to a year.
Okay.
Oh, up to a year?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Jared,
Thank you for the question, Steve.
yeah, thanks, Steve
Yeah,
G.
man.
And I'll tell you what, Jared, I'm like real excited we've got commenters. I thought we'd just be talking to a camera, but that's cool.
So one thing we've learned about since being in business is manifestation. Come on, you know.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what. So, you know, as far as our giveaways, it's our 4 winners, my thing.
You got 4 already. Hey, good job, guys. You're entered in.
These 4 gentlemen who took the time to type a comment to us,
Yeah.
it's a prize
so
winner
much.
right there.
That's right.
Yeah. Which I mean, I don't know how this works. If we can actually contact them through
Well, so this is live on YouTube, right?
you do.
So they have a user account, and you can send them a message on YouTube after the live recording, and we can, if you're willing to give us a postal address, you know, we will ship these products to you. And you know, Jeff Spencer, he's gonna put his chicken scratch on it, and maybe we'll all do it.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
Just give us your neighbor's address. You don't give us yours.
you got that good looking cat, boy.
One of those.
Well, you ain't got one. Well, it's too late. That's all right.
Well,
Okay.
mine's got a little dirt on it.
My phone and submit a comment.
Now, if you're a visor, man, that's a good looking visor.
Oh, I do have a visor. I like
You got
the
one of
visor.
them?
Yep.
Or we'll send a couple of them copies of our
Couple of
book.
digging for profit
So
books.
Jeff Spencer will even sign it, man. I think he might
Who
be.
gets the cookies?
Anybody bring
I
a
get
Well, so we get the cookies and the champagne. You know what? In fact,
Yeah, come on. We probably should.
No.
I don't know how good these are going to be.
And you know, and
I'm not going to let you.
Even when I'm opening, I'm like,
Yeah.
and Luke Ashton, like what regions you guys really working in right now? Is it pretty much all of Middle Tennessee?
Don't you think?
No, not all of Middle Tennessee. It's if you look at it on the map, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
northwestern portion of Middle Tennessee, I guess you'd say.
Okay, northwestern Middle Tennessee. So okay,
But it ranges from lower Sumner County to was it Murray County, Columbia, Spring
Yeah.
Hills in.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from Humphreys, Hickman County over to what is it right past Davidson County?
Cheatham.
No, on the other side.
Oh, 11 Wilson County.
Yeah, like on the east side of Wilson County is about our
Got it. All right. Well, hey, I was going to say, anyone who sees or has watched this video, if you are in need of land development, you
I'm gonna
know,
pass it
reach
on
out
to
to these guys. TriStar Land Solutions. We'll have your contact info in the description.
90% hit. Or
Yes.
all right. Yeah.
Piss in a
Hey,
in there.
that looks like after a night of a good time.
Yeah.
He had turned a couple
We
of.
should have brought 6 draws, 7 draws.
We've actually kind of rebranded
Juice there now.
on our commercial side as far as a company. Yeah, if you notice when we introduced ourselves as TriStar Site Development.
I noticed that was different. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've known you as TriStar Land Solutions.
Well, we were, and we still are.
Site development.
So that's
You got apologies.
no, that's fine.
Is there anything that anyone
There
watching
you
in terms of how to reach you? Does that change that?
Does anybody
So
need-
You tell them, Luke.
it's all the same social addresses and stuff.
Okay. So if they just go to Google and search for TriStar Site Development, they will find you.
Yeah, TriStar Site Development Company, or I guess CO. I don't know how big of a difference that is, but
Yeah.
So that is a description.
yeah.
You guys need any more in your cups?
Always.
I
That ended up being
think Chris has got a little shot too.
10%.
This morning,
Jerry.
hit that lick.
It's all
A
right.
shot of champagne.
Pretty much. That's why I bought 2.
Drinking, they're going
All
around.
right.
My bad.
Split between.
Anybody gonna come with a toast?
What?
Well, I would like to toast to our users and
Thank
our
you so much.
YouTube subscribers and followers.
Yep.
Thank you for being along the journey with us as we put out this content. This one, okay, yeah, all right. we have multiple cameras,
Yeah.
But thanks for being a part of this ProfitDig community,
been a journey.
and especially our commenters tonight. That's super cool.
so much.
Y'all are cool now, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, some bitch
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Love it.
And thanks to Luke and Ashton for the positive feedback and all the feedback, positive and unpositive.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you guys are invaluable to us.
And just the use that y'all put into ProfitDig and the feedback y'all have given
Mhm.
has helped us go a long way, and
Yep.
we really appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
A prosperous future to TriStar Land Solutions.
TriStar Land Solutions and TriStar Site Development.
TriStar Site Development.
Hey, congratulations to you guys from all the hard work that y'all put into this.
Thank you.
I know y'all been working on it a lot.
It's been
Here
a
lately.
long journey,
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
And we just want to put something out there that is user friendly, that does what these other expensive products do at an affordable rate. So people like y'all that are getting started haven't got to come out of pocket with thousands and thousands of dollars. That you have something out there you can bid off of and track your costs. That does not put you out of business right out of the bat.
Yeah.
Believe me, they are high.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's either you bite the bullet or you use a spreadsheet.
Oh my god.
Or transparency paper and paper
We
plans.
agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or you can
Absolutely.
find a product like ProfitDig, which we're
Yeah.
very proud of, and we probably don't promote it enough on the channel.
We don't.
Well, we're about to.
Okay,
We
but
were waiting for the launch.
After all this
the hell out of it. Yeah. In fact, promo code
Cheers.
B3 launch. And you
V3.
get 50% off your first 3
See,
months.
next 3 months.
Cheers. Cheers,
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Got a
All right.
third of a cup of champagne.
It kind of looks like piss, but it don't taste like it.
Yeah. It's not the best champagne I've had, but well,
It's a joke.
yeah.
Okay, what?
All right.
That is 1 hour exactly.
1 hour. Are we ending it? Do we have any more questions?
Any more comments?
That is all of our questions.
All right. Well,
For now.
thanks, everyone. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And hey,
Cheers to you.
hey,
Which camera?
if you haven't,
This one.
this,
No, hold on.
like the video.
Tell your mom. Tell your
Tell your mama and them. And we'll see y'all soon.
auntie.
Check ProfitDig.com. Thank you guys so much.
Version 3.0.
Thanks for having us.
That's right.
Peace out.
Later.
See you guys.
And that's it. We're done.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
You want to show pictures?
Yeah.